Hello, friends. I'm Andrea Morris, and welcome to another edition of Spill the Wine, a podcast obviously about wine. I'm very excited today because we are making our very first trip to the Niagara on the Lake wine region. And I'm especially excited because we're here with Vadim, the winemaker for Palatine Hills. Welcome to the podcast, Vadim.
Well, thank you so much. Pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be first winemaker from Niagara on the Lake to be on your podcast. So I'm very excited and looking forward to delivering some amazing content to your audience.
Now, how do you, I will say, listener, I first met Vadim years ago when he was the winemaker at Casaba.
Yes, that's
And
right.
we've had many an amazing conversation about wine. And I've always enjoyed the knowledge that you've imparted. So I'm really excited to have you here because you have so much to talk about. How do you like the transition from the bench to the Niagara region?
Oh, I absolutely love it. I was working at Casaba for about 12 years, 5 of them as a head winemaker. I love the area. I love the bench. I love the grapes there. I love the people. In fact, I actually live there still. But it came a time in my career to explore other sides of the industry, work in different areas like Niagara on the Lake. And I always joke about being on the other side of St. Catharines, on the other side of the industry, where things are a little bit bigger. We have much more consistent topography. Things are much more flat than they are out on the bench, of course. The escarpment is much further away from the lake, and we do have effect from Niagara River on our weather and growing conditions. So I love new challenges. I love new opportunities. I love ability to work with grape varietals I always dreamt about, like Viognier. And I'm absolutely excited to work with Newfield family, the owners of Palatine Hills Winery, who've been my dear friends for, I'd say, over a decade.
So did you come in with ideas of what you wanted to do ahead of time, like grapes you wanted to work with that you hadn't done at Casaba?
Oh, well, absolutely. Like I mentioned, I was excited to work with things like Viognier and Semillon, which are not widely planted, although there were some Viognier at Casaba dedicated primarily to Syrah production. And mainly for myself, I've been consulting for Palatine Hills since about 2020. So I was quite familiar with the vineyard, with the production techniques, equipment, the budgetary restrictions, which are in place for every business out there. Right. So I've already had some understanding of what the business is, what the mentality and the direction of the family and the Palatine Hills Winery. And it's time for them to bring in a full-time winemaker. Prior to that, one of the brothers, Johnny, was running the winemaking and the viticulture, and that was becoming a little bit overwhelming as, of course, the winery started to become more recognized. The volumes of wine being moved and produced are increasing substantially year after year. And with that in mind, when I started on June 20th, 2024, I had a very good understanding of the profile of the wines, the direction of the winery and the marketing side of it. But I also had a very good understanding of the vines, the vineyards, and the varietals grown here. And didn't only consult for winemaking, but I also purchased their fruit for over a decade as well. So I was very fortunate to work with their fruit prior to arriving here.
Right, that's cool. So today, when we're doing our tastings, when we get to that part of the podcast, will we be tasting things that you are responsible for, or is that going to be like back vintages that?
We will have an interesting crossover. There will be a few wines which, and this is a little side note here, but I'm an incredibly fortunate winemaker for Ontario to work with iconic 2020 vintage wines, not once, but twice in my lifetime. That is a very seldom opportunity anybody gets. Yes, today we will be tasting primarily the products that I oversaw from the grape or apple all the way till the bottle. And there will be some which I started as a consultant. And when I came on board, I was able to finish them here with the barrel selection or final fining stages, bottling, of course. So all of the wines that I'm going to present to you today, I've had some sort of involvement, if not completed all the way.
Fantastic. Let's just go back to a point that you just mentioned about 2020. for any listener that has just started, maybe this is your first episode, in the Niagara region, 2020 was an amazing year for grapes.
Outstanding year. Yes, absolutely. And if I may elaborate a little further to our listeners here, in the winemaking side of it, the weather conditions are most important and crucial in decision making. If it's going to be a good year, if it's going to be a year producing good quality wines, or is it going to be a year producing outstanding quality wines? And in Niagara, we are very fortunate to have a fluctuation of those years, allowing us to craft wines, which can be at the lower price point, can be introduced to the consumers who may not have a very sophisticated palate or may not be even looking for a sophisticated beverage. We all have Thursday night or Wednesday night wine to go with pizza or share with a neighbor. So those cooler years, those years which we see a little bit more rain, we don't see the ripeness of the grapes to the level where we would be saying, yes, this is going to be outstanding. But we also get those years in between, which are just outstanding. Like last year, 2024 was outstanding. Dry, beautiful formation of the fruit, amazing canopy formation. And of course, the lengths of the season in a cooler climate like Ontario is very important. So when we were able to see warm, dry weather all the way into the mid-October, pretty much all the way till November last year, and into late November in 2020. So you're already starting to see the pattern formation there. 24 was fantastic, but it did end closer to the beginning of November. It was the beautiful warm weather. In 2020, the mid-20s and low 20s continued all the way to mid-November. So that was a much longer growing season, giving us the fruit ripeness that we have never seen before. Of course, that presents some challenges like high brix or high sugar levels and concentration, resulting in potentially very high alcohol wines. But that is the winemaking side of the business, to mitigate that, to manage such high levels of sugar. But alongside with the sugar came the flavor. And that is where we get very excited, because we've never seen that much flavor in our grapes here in Ontario.
You do cartwheels throughout the barrel room.
We quite literally did.
I remember having a conversation with you once at Casaba when we were you were talking about the effervescence, the new bubbly, yes. And it was magnificent. But you were talking about like the slight pinkness of it, yes. And wondering if you should have like fooled around with it a bit. And then we started this conversation about how wine goes in directions that you're sometimes not predicting when you're making the wine.
Oh, absolutely. Very, very good point. To our listeners, as a winemaker, we don't actually physically ourselves make the wine. I see myself as a steward that guides the fermentation process, that selects the yeast strains which are designed for a particular target, either create a particular flavor profile, reveal that out of the grapes, or they are more tolerant to high alcohol fermentations or low temperature fermentations. So as a winemakers, we have a massive tool set. And from the first glance, somebody who's not completely engulfed in it might be overwhelmed by amount of different tools that are available. But when you work with them, when you gain enough experience, you start to narrow down your possibilities and your opportunities and what you can do with that. And yes, it's very true. We set the aim of what we want to achieve or would love to achieve, given what we have in the vineyards. And we select the tools to get us to that route. But that route is not a straight line, and it's not a guaranteed road. In some cases, the yeast needs a change of approach. So being fluid, being constantly involved with the winemaking process, staying on top of the tasting, but also the lab and chemistry of your fermentations and aging wines. That's very important, because it doesn't just stop at the fermentation. In fact, the whole thing just begins. And all of that is guiding it to our potential aim. But in some cases, we will be tasting a couple of wines today, which were born on the accident. and very happy accident. And we are very pleased with what happened, to the point when we actually going to repeat this and make these our commercial all year availability kind of wines.
Oh, that's a fun accident then, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Those are the good accidents.
Do you ever get to that point when you're frustrated, though, because you had this vision for what you wanted this wine to be and it's not working and it's doing what it wants to do and you're just kind of like, ugh, you damn grapes.
Frustrated, no. Excited for a new opportunity, a new wine, a new style. Definitely. Because, yeah, if it's not exactly going towards what you were hoping for or aiming for, then something else is being born. And I always say, when one door is closed, at least one more opens somewhere else. And in these kind of accidents, many other doors might open up, which is exciting. It's not frustrating in any sort of way.
Do you have one particular wine that you've encountered that's like you're the proudest of for that?
Yes, we actually will be tasting a white Merlot 2024, which originally wasn't even in the design. It wasn't even something that we were thinking about making. Happy accidents occurred, which resulted in the extraction of the juice for that wine. And yes, the next morning when I tasted the juice, prior to original plan being blended back to the fermenting Merlot tank, we made the decision that that juice separate from skins, with no skin contact, with no high color extraction, actually brought out a lot of flavor extraction, which is very unique. So when we think about Merlot, we don't usually look at it as a white or very, very seldom rosé style. And here we are, very floral, very, very. I don't want to.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I don't want to run away too far on this one. But yeah, we will be tasting that wine and among many, many other delicious.
I'm excited to try that.
Yes.
But we're talking about grapes a lot, and I see that the first thing we're going to sample today is actually not a grape.
Yes, that's actually another exciting part about joining Palatine Hills Winery here in Niagara-on-the-Lake. We are surrounded by orchards, a lot of peach trees. There's quite a few apple trees still remain in the area. And the cool part about philosophy of Palatine Hills Winery is we are fun. We are all about enjoyment of what we do out in the vineyard. It is hard work, but we love doing it. Spending overtime hours on the crash pad, but also we love just socializing. And we have a beautiful patio. You will see the owners. You will see myself on there daily in the after hours from production and vineyards. Just casually hanging around, talking to people, enjoying one or two beverages. And my go-to personally for years actually now been a cider, or a dry cider, I should be specific. And joining here, I'm allowed, and we are fun. I'm allowed to do fun things. And one of those fun things, we wanted to get a cider, which would be dry-ish, and introduce it to the LCBO and have the Ontario consumer have a choice for a cider which is done only from two ingredients, the apples and yeast.
Wow.
And 100% Ontario apples.
That's amazing. And I love a dry cider.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. They are thirst quenching. They are refreshing. They are mood lifting. They take me to a happy place. No matter how tough the day was, no matter how stressful it was, we want to leave that behind before we go home. And that's why a little bit of cider at the end of the day is always a very welcome beverage.
Let's taste it.
Absolutely.
I love that. You mentioned peaches. Have you ever thought about like peach cider?
Last year, we actually did a peach wine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in our lineup today, I'm not going to be presenting that wine. We can taste it off the air, mainly because we only have a few cases of it left. So I don't necessarily want to advertise that product and have people come here and ask for it and not being able to taste it or take it home. because the next batch is scheduled to be produced in 2026.
Oh,
So yeah,
that's a long
it's a
wait.
long way away. That's why I don't necessarily want to present it here, but I do want to mention it that with our peach wine, our approach was to make it a wine first, and then have the peach flavors kind of highlight the nose. So it's a combination of our estate Riesling, 60%, and 40% our neighbor's peaches. Obviously, they were fermented separately, blended after they settled and clarified, to give you this beautiful peach on the nose. I mean, literally, you can smell it all day long and never sip on it, but you definitely want to sip on it because the palate is dry and it drinks a lot like a dry Riesling wine, and keeping the consumer still in the fruit wine zone, but now being able to enjoy it with your regular fare that you would with a dry white wine.
Because so many people think fruit wine and automatically sweet, sweet, sweet.
Mm-hmm. Well, absolutely. There's definitely a market for those wines. I am a part of that market personally. I do love fairly sweet, concentrated peach wine, but I see it as a liqueur. So I would usually start the evening as a part of aperitivo, part of the cocktail sometimes. But they're also really nice as a digestivo cocktail as well.
It's also very much an Eastern European thing, isn't it?
Yes. It very much is. From a very young age, with the guidance from my grandparents, I was involved in not just the harvesting of our berries and our orchards that my family used to have, but also in the process of processing them into juice. And with the guidance of my grandfather, also I was able to see some of the fermentation techniques. Of course, homemade techniques are very different from the commercialized, but the basics and the science is the same.
Right, because you're not mass producing, so
exactly. So things you can take some shortcuts which you cannot do in the commercial world.
Right. I'm just staring at this glass of cider and it's calling my name, so I have to have a sip of it.
Please.
Cheers
go
to
ahead.
you. Oh, that's delicious. You can really taste the apples. Nice and cold, that'd be the perfect summer on the patio.
Oh, absolutely. We've been very, very successful with this cider, releasing it to LCBO and our consumer at the end of May of this year. And at this point, we're talking on September 10th. We've sold over 40,000 cans through LCBO and our retail outlet here. This has been our crowd favorites for this summer patio. And we do have a lovely, massive patio which overlooks the vineyards adjacent directly to the building. So people really, really love this. Personally, I got a little tip for our listeners. With a dry apple cider like that, you definitely welcome to take apple slices and freeze those and use them as an ice cubes to keep your glass of cider nice and chilled a little bit longer.
That is a really good tip. I like that.
Yeah. If you want it to be a little bit crisper and less sweet, select the apples which don't carry those characters like green apples. If you do want them to be a little bit more sweeter, cold and delicious would be a very, very good apple to freeze and use as an ice cube.
And if you want a nice little cocktail, add a little bit of bourbon to that.
Oh, I love the way you think. Absolutely.
That's my go-to, cider and bourbon.
That's a lovely combination, like seriously match made in heaven.
Exactly. Now I'm having to experiment with a little bit of Canadian whiskey because it's hard for us to get bourbon.
Well, it's a good and bad thing. I mean, for everyday consumer, myself included, I do miss beautiful Tennessee whiskeys. I miss Kentucky bourbon. I miss Napa Valley Big Reds, right? Or Russian River Valley Pinot Noir, Ohio or Washington State wines. Luckily, we are not that far away from the border and we can get to that product. Mind though, on the way back, we will be paying pretty hefty taxes to bring these wines into Canada. So yeah, as a general consumer, I'm maybe a little bit upset about that. As a industry, as a collective, I think we have benefited drastically from this interchange between our governments. The support from Ontarians has grown exponentially. The demand for Ontario wines have grown to the levels when we today experience shortages in some grape varietals like Chardonnay. It is almost impossible to outsource Chardonnay grapes somewhere. I mean, even us who usually would be selling it are actually looking to buy some this year. So that's all driven by Ontario consumer, for which I want to thank every single one of those people who support us, who enjoy locally grown, locally produced, and locally distributed beverages. That is a massive thing, because if you think about it, the industry has moved from a fairly small conglomerate of a few big wineries 60 years ago to a massive industry which supports and supplies jobs to thousands of people. Many families are involved in it, and a lot of families, all of the family members, like Newfield family, are involved in this. So again, I want to just thank our listeners, our audience, and all of the Ontario and Canadian consumers who are supporting us.
I read that there's a 66% increase in sales of Ontario wines, which is absolutely fantastic.
That is amazing to see. And I mean, we've been asking for help from governments for many years, decades, I would say. And the process was going, but it was going fairly slowly. Mainly, again, because the consumer base was presented with amazing array of different wines from all across the world. And I only encourage that. That is fantastic. I think we are fortunate to be one of the only places on earth where such a variety of world beverages presented to the consumer. But it was very hard for us to compete against the countries where there's a massive government support to the wine industry, where the labor may be much cheaper. So those would be the factors that really restrained our price points. And it was very hard to communicate to consumers sometimes why they should be picking up, Ontario Chardonnay for $29, where, 20 steps away on the shelves in LCBO, you can get a $22, $15, or even $11 Chardonnay from somewhere else across the world of comparably equal quality. So that was the beginning and emergence of our industry, where we needed to convince our home consumer that our wines are not just as good, but they're better. They're homegrown, and justify the price point to the consumer that, yes, all the initial costs of starting up the operations, purchasing the equipment. Remember, in Canada, we don't have many manufacturers of the production equipment. We don't have many coopers. So a lot of the supplies have to be brought from overseas. And again, exchange rate against euros or US dollar were always not in our favor. So once that was conveyed to the consumer they voted. And I always say that you can win all kinds of awards for wine. You can be recognized at all kinds of wine shows and have amazing write-ups from the best critics in the world. But the biggest and the most important award that any winery, any winemaker can receive is a sold-out sticker on that shelf.
That's so true. And I hope that we're helping with that with the podcast, because by talking with all the different winemakers and getting your input as to what it takes for you to make the wine. And even when we did our episodes with Thomas Boschelder, he very clearly explained the expense of wine, what it cost you to make this happen. And I think that all of that understanding helps to go like, oh, well, that is worth it, because it's not just someone out there picking grapes and throwing it in a barrel and seeing what happens. There is a lot of work. There's a lot of love. There's so much labor. And I think that this is all like helping to put a spotlight on what a great area we have here.
Absolutely. And I definitely want to recognize you and the work that you do to bring the what our passion is about, what we are all about to the general consumer, to the audience, wider than the retail store or winemaker dinner. We want to be as transparent and as reachable to every single individual. So our doors are always open. The doors of my office are always open to anybody who has any sort of question, and there's never silly questions. So I want you to establish that bridge to bring the consumer and not feel overwhelmed or hesitant or in any way pushed away from asking questions, from connecting with what we do. And of course, a big shout out to Thomas Batchelder, a really, really amazing winemaker, a true heart and soul of Ontario grape community.
And he is such an approachable man, as all of you guys are. And I think that also helps to kind of demystify wine. Because a lot of people are scared of it and think that, oh my gosh, I don't know anything about it, I can't enjoy it, which is another reason I started this podcast. But I think that there are so many levels to wine.
Oh, the wine world is endless. And every morning I wake up, I remind myself that right now I know 8 hours less of what I've known before I went to bed, because the industry moves so much further globally in those 8 hours that I'm asleep. I do remember one of my first wines I've ever tried. We're not going to say how old I was, but I was very young. Let's put it that way. And yes, I was intimidated. I was presented 2 wines by my grandfather. And at that stage, obviously, I wasn't the most versatile with words, being at the young age, but I could still draw. So he asked me to draw things that I smell, that I taste. And of course, he made sure I spit the wine. After it goes in my mouth, I spit that wine. It's totally fine to do so, not just for kids, but for adults. So just a little remark there. And I drew what I tasted. And one side of the page I filled with all these beautiful fruit images, bananas, the peaches, the apricots, tangerines, cantaloupe. And that was in a skillet ice wine.
Wow.
Yes, and this is happening post-Soviet era in Kazakhstan. So to get the bottle of something out of Canada to Kazakhstan, I was very much privileged to have a grandfather who was so into the wines and the beverages. The second part of the page, and then this is where it got a little intimidating, because I didn't like it. I really didn't like the wine. I'm not going to name it. We all had it before. It's still being sold. That's why we're not going to mention it. But I drew absolutely nothing on that side of the page, and I spit it out, and I didn't even come back for the second. So that was that moment of, a light bulb went off. And I'm like, oh, so yes, there are things that I'm going to be wowed by, I'm going to enjoy, I'm going to like. But then there's other things that I really don't like. And the next 10, 15 years journey was all about exploring my flavor profile, my taste buds, and my affinity to things that I like and things that I don't like, and explaining why this is happening.
It's too bad you don't still have that picture, because that would be like great to have it framed in your, in your workspace and go like, yeah, this is where it started.
I know. I wish we would have kept it, but we were out in the village and we needed the fire starter.
You have to recreate it.
I might have to. Yes. Well, maybe one day my kids will draw me one, and then we will frame that one.
Okay. That's a good compromise.
Yes.
Well, let's taste some wine now, because the cider set the bar pretty high. That's really, really delicious. I love that.
Thank you very much. Glad to hear that.
I'm just picturing it with some bourbon in it and going, yep.
Well, see, the thing is, a lot of people may be intimidated about how they're going to enjoy wine at home. They think that there's the proper etiquette. They think that there's a lot of people that's over-concerning themselves with the size and type of glass and the presentation and the proper corkscrew and whatnot. I take it easy. I always encourage that. You enjoy that wine the way you want to enjoy it, right? The same idea for all the other beverages. If you're a Scotch connoisseur like I am, put a little bit of drop of water, distilled water into it, and watch the change in that profile. And I'm all about experimentation. And encourage everybody to experiment too. So the way you want to enjoy wine is the way you want to enjoy wine. And don't let anybody else tell you that there's a proper way to do so.
Okay.
So
see, it's less pretentious already.
Yes, that's exactly what we're trying to do here at Palatine Hills is to really demystify the wine and take away that stigma that this is, for pretentious for upper class people. No, most of our product is priced so affordably well that it's almost hard not to get 2, 3, 4 bottles at a time, because when this wine right here in front of us, the unoaked Chardonnay, we call the chiller under Ramblers series. This is a 2023 vintage, which was a little bit cooler. This wine is approachable in its price at $15 a bottle. It is available through LCBO and our store. The profile of this wine is incredible. It is a dry, unoaked Chardonnay, all estate fruit. So you'll see quite a bit of tropical notes in here, a little bit of floral character, and of course that beautiful limestone minerality on the finish.
Nice nose to that. It does have a tropical kind of...
Thank you, but not overpowering. I mean, we're not talking about like the very concentrated agave and mango. This is a lighter notes of tropical fruit.
Little pineapple.
Definitely. Oh, I love that pineapple in it. So the wines that we do craft here are going to be between dry and slightly off dry style. We do want them to be enjoyed as a patio sippers, as a standalone wines. But we also consider that a lot of consumers would like to pair that with a meal. And there is definitely a big place for sweet and semi-sweet wines on the dinner table. But for the most part, it's much easier for a general home cook to prepare a meal that would go better with the drier wine. And yes, this one, I believe, is driving at about 4.5 grams per liter.
Yeah, it's not. There's no sweetness to this at all. It's very neutral on the palate, I think.
Yes, the palate of it is intentionally fairly reserved in comparison to its nose, allowing it to really shine with the food, but again making it a very nice and easy, no-brainer kind of go-to everyday sipping wine on the patio.
Yeah, for that person that's like, oh no, I don't like Chardonnay because it's too oaky, this is perfect for you.
No oak used in this one. It is actually on the label unoaked. A lot, and I actually agree with a lot of the consumers about the oak. A lot of wines and Chardonnay wines, I consider the oak being over-extracted or overused, and a lot of those bottles are being enjoyed way too early, before the full integration of the oak, before development of all the tertiary flavors which were intended by the winemaker to reveal and unveil only after a period of time. And again, back to, you enjoy wine the way you want to enjoy it. So if you don't necessarily have the time, the patience, the storage is a big thing nowadays as well, then you probably will be very much in love with a wine of this style.
It's the Ramblers. Is that one of your lines then? Because I've seen like the Ramblers, you have another Rambler. So is that like a lower end line or?
So yes, the Ramblers series. I wouldn't say that this is the lower. So we have
the lower price.
Yeah, this
point.
is our entry level price point wines. That's
right.
Probably the more accurate way to describe this brand. Under this brand, we have the chiller, the Schmoozer, which is Cabernet Merlot. We'll be trying that wine. Actually quite shortly. And we do have a cider under the same. So the entire Ramblers is all about taking it outside, enjoying it at the fire pit, by the lake, by the pool, sharing it with your best friends or neighbors, or maybe not friends at all, and making new friends while you're sharing that. Right? Like I spent the summer living in my camper, and I basically have the whole campground now being our customers because I kept on sharing the wines. But, I run out. So now we all buy the same stuff and they share it and everybody loves it. And that's the general mentality of the Ramblers series. It's fun, it's approachable, it's easy drinking, and it is very affordable.
That's great, because that's important.
I believe so, because, times are becoming a little bit tougher than usual. Consumer and everybody really is starting to look a little bit closer to their spending, where they're spending on what, and prioritizing. So if, per se, 10 years ago, a $25, $30 bottle of wine, and I would see a consumer walk in and get a box of 12 of those. A couple of years down the road, they were picking only 6, and then down the road again, it was scaling down. So our approach here is yes, our Ontario wine should be affordable for everyday consumer. It shouldn't be put away on a pedestal and aged away for a very, very long time. Although we do make wines of such caliber, and we will try those. But if we were to say the percentage-wise, here what we do, I would say 95% of the wines that we do produce at Palatine Hills are geared for everyday consumption, with only about 5% of them being targeted towards the ultra-luxury market.
And you know what? There are many wineries in this area that do that ultra luxury thing.
Yes.
And very much cater to those people where their wines start at like $100 a bottle.
And that is fantastic. That is great.
Because there's a market for that.
Yes, absolutely. And that is an amazing thing to see in a young, developing, cool climate producing region with all the obstacles that we've overcome, with all of the issues that we faced through the years. I'm not even mentioning the cold winters, which kill our vineyards once in a while. So for us, we appreciate having wineries and our neighbors, our friends that cater to the ultra luxury, and they do have the pedigree and the merit to support such high prices. That just means in general that the quality of our wines has now come up to the world stage and world prices. But we also want to have wine for everyday drinker, myself included.
Because you don't necessarily want to drink a $75 bottle of wine every day.
Yeah, well, we all made that mistake when we reached for the wrong bottle. Yes.
I should have had my glasses on when I picked it.
Well, yeah, you usually realize it once the cork is out. But once the genie is out of the bottle, you don't put it back in. You got to drink it,
yeah. You just rub the bottle and wish for another 3 to appear.
Yes.
Well, this is a beautiful way to start tasting with your wines.
Thank you so much.
I like that.
Greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. So what are we doing next?
So next, I want to take you on a journey to Sauvignon Blanc. And the Sauvignon Blanc, not like a lot of us tried from New Zealand to Australia, where it's packed with gooseberry, grapefruits, this very, very mineral notes. So our approach to the Sauvignon Blanc is to have it very ripe out in the vineyards, just slightly over 22 brix, where you get the full concentration of the tropical precursors, tropical flavor precursors. But you also retain a lot of the minerality and the acidity, and without getting too green or too gooseberry-like. So the result is...
and this is a 2020...
I love this sound.
This is a 2023?
Yes.
So listener, that sound means that it's a twist cap. You don't need a corkscrew to drink this wine.
That was a good take, by the way. That was a good sound. I approve. Yeah.
And when Lukas approves, you know you're on the right path.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, this has a beautiful nose. Apricot, maybe?
Yes, a little apricot skin, white plum.
Ah.
And it's very, very apparent right on the front of the nose. The gooseberry is still there. It's still a Sauvignon Blanc, but it has more dimensions now than what you usually get.
Kind of creamy on the...
Yes, we did a partial malolactic fermentation in order to soften the acidity. So this way we brought down the mouthfeel from, the aftertaste of green apple into more softer, more velvety, and a little bit more voluptuous.
It definitely is. It's like a lot of times you drink a Sauvignon Blanc and it's really like, it's like almost sharp.
Yes.
And I can really taste like a little bit of that apricot on the back of my tongue.
Thank you. Yeah, a very well-balanced wine. Again, fairly dry. We are looking at about 4.7 gram per liter in here, residual sugar. And for our listeners, it is very important for me to mention that the grams per liter, bricks, or residual sugar, that is only one dimension of the flavor profile of wine. So when we talk about the sweetness of wine, we have to consider its acidity, its tannins, its other components like lactic acid, the result of malolactic fermentation. We have to consider all of those aspects and how they lean together in order to create the profile of wine. And further down the road, we'll be tasting absolutely bone-dry wines, which will And everybody says that they do appear sweet on the finish. And that's maybe a little misleading, but that's part of the art and part of the creation of those wines.
But I think it's important to talk about that because a lot of times you go to wineries and you look at a tasting menu and the first thing people look at is the sugar content. And that can be very deceiving.
Exactly, that's my point. When you go to a tasting, you go to LCBO, and back in the day when I was just studying, LCBO had a sugar scale of 0 to whatever, and they had to abolish that because consumer was picking up a dry wine at 1, and they would come home, they would taste it, and they would be like, well, no, like it's sweet, but because the acid of that wine was so low. There was no oak involvement. The wine would appear to be slightly sweeter than what they're used to or what they were looking for. And a lot of general consumer was put away by that system. Today, we are stating our sugar levels on the winery tasting sheets and whatnot, but still we are a long way away from generally describing how all of the components lean in together into it. But frankly, you know what? Not everybody wants to know any of that. They, in the best way, I always say, taste the wine. Don't look at the sugar content, taste it.
And that's why wine tastings are a great, fun thing to do because you're finding out what wines suit your palate. And I might love this wine, which I do, but someone else might taste it and go like, oh no.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's perfectly okay.
That's perfectly okay because for some, we all have different palates.
Yes.
We all have different memories, experiences, because those will also affect how we taste, how we perceive it. We all see the world differently, and we all have different moods on a different day, right? So even myself, I do find that sometimes I'm not in the mood for a particular style of wine, and I won't touch it. Right? It'd be a very hot summer day. I'm definitely not reaching for a bottle of a big, bold red Cabernet Sauvignon. I probably will be grabbing a cider.
Right. But unless I have a steak on the grill, then the big, bold red comes into play. But,
yes.
But for the most part, this, like summertime is usually my crisp white wine.
Yeah.
And rosés, that's...
Yeah, exactly. The wine goes with the mood, with the company, with the weather. And of course, the food. That's very important, and that's how I grew up. Because on our family table, we always had a dinner bottle of wine. Did you want it or not? That was your personal choice for the adults in the family. But there was no pop, right? If it was a juice, it was real juice. It either squished fresh right to table, or it was purchased from the store, guaranteed that it is a high quality juice. And water. There was nothing else that what we are now accustomed to in North America. But unfortunately, things changed back there as well.
Yeah, but this would be beautiful with food as well.
Yes, I did this with bacon wrapped scallops,
Oh.
and this was just an absolute delight.
I can just taste that because that's absolutely perfect for that.
I'm very glad that you very much enjoyed our Sauvignon Blanc. This is
I really like that
vintage,
Sauvignon Blanc, yeah.
And I cannot wait for the release of 2024. Which
I'm just putting that aside.
Yeah,
sipping on
slide
later.
them to the side. We have lots of glasses.
Okay, so we're ready for our next wine.
Oh, the next one?
Goody.
Yes, this is the old Goody. Hello. Yes, the newest creation from 2024, a brand new style of rosé for us. This is a combination of Sanier-style Merlot, so very high quality, very low intervention extraction of the juice, almost no skin contact. The second part of it is our estate Riesling, which was fermented absolutely bone dry. So it leans into that beautiful crispness, lemongrass, lemon drops characters, a little bit of the tangerine peel. But the color, it's such a, I wish we had a video for this one, but it's so vibrant.
I did take a photo, so yeah.
Perfect. It just literally is neon pink.
That's a really cool combination for a rosé with the Merlot and Riesling.
And the color coming from a little bit of Cab Franc. So
yeah.
4% Cabernet Franc.
Honestly, it doesn't even look like a Riesling in a glass.
So this retails at $11 in the LCBO. And
are you kidding me?
I kid you not. It's 100% estate fruit wine.
Amazing. That's an amazing price. That's like you could easily afford several cases of that.
Oh, absolutely. We do sell it by the case only at the winery. It's not to compete against ourselves in the LCBO.
Wow.
It is a crowd pleaser.
It certainly is.
It's slightly off dry. We are
Yeah.
writing about 10 to 12 grams residual sugar.
That's fantastic. That's
Thank
a
you.
perfect rosé. It's that right down the middle for anyone that likes a sweet rosé or anyone that likes a dry rosé. I think it hits both of those notes at the same time.
It really does. This is the wine that I would serve with no hesitation to a complete stranger, and I would definitely expect them to come back and say thank you because this was good.
But again, that little bit of softness on it.
Yes, a little bit of malolactic fermentation.
I can tell it all the time. You know what? Yeah, it just makes it. It really lends that softness to it.
It really does.
Yeah.
And, when done properly under certain conditions, malolactic fermentation can be phenomenal for rosé wines, for dry whites. It really lifts the fruit. It softens the acid, and it really leans towards drinkability of that wine.
It's beautiful. Like, honestly, I would never expect that this was an $11 bottle.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. I love the blend. I think just it works beautifully.
Yeah, and that was the intention from the get-go. We did not anticipate winning awards with this wine, but I did submit it to the Wine Alliance Nationals, and I did submit it to All Canadian Wine Championships, and we scored very, very well with the bronze and the silver. So, yes, congratulations to old Goody being so good.
And what year is that? 20?
So we don't put the vintage on the labels. This one is 100% 2024 vintage. Of course, we do leave ourselves a little bit of room to be able to accommodate two variants of the vintages. With 24 being very hot, we do want to leave a little bit of an opportunity in case we do encounter a cooler vintage to be able to adjust it by blending some of the previous warmer year. Yeah, here we want the consistency because we want to be consistent to the consumer from year to year to year.
If the listener comes to the winery, do you have that available for tasting or no?
We do have it available for tasting at the winery.
But you can only buy a case.
You can only buy it by the case at the winery. However, you can always buy it, taste it here, buy it at the LCBO. But you know what? I will encourage our listeners, buy it at the LCBO and you will not regret it.
Right. But if you come here and you want a case of it, which I wouldn't say is a bad thing, it's fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm really impressed with that. And the price point is amazing.
Well, yeah, back again to the idea of being approachable price-wise to majority of the consumer. Of course, I'm a beer drinker, I'm a cider drinker, I'm a scotch drinker, I'm a coffee drinker too. So I don't necessarily discriminate against any of them, but some people, they just don't like the taste of wine, and that's absolutely fine. Some people don't like complex wines. It's not their thing. They want something easy, simple. Just crack it. Don't even think about what you're cracking because all you care about is, I want to have a nice dinner. This is the time to have a family time, and the wine is more of a secondary option to it.
I keep drinking this because it's so good. You know, I've tried so many different rosés in my life because rosé is a wine I very much enjoy, particularly in the summertime.
Yes.
But this holds up against some of like those beautiful French rosés that I love.
Thank you. Yeah, well, we've shared quite a few glasses of rosé at Cassava Patio with you.
Yes, we have. Yeah.
I did Gamay rosé there, which is a completely different beast altogether, and that's why I love being here because I get to improvise, experiment. I get to challenge myself into creation of something new, something different, something that has more of my spin on it to what I like. Mind though that every winemaker should always remember that we're not making wine for ourselves; we're making it for the consumer.
Right. Well, what are we consuming next, Mr. Vadim?
Well, now I would love to present you the fastest red wine that I've ever made and bottled. This is a 2024 Cabernet Merlot we named Schmoozer from Ramblers series, also available at LCBO, also a $15 product. To the general consumer or our listeners, our audience today, I just have to make a very quick remark that white wines can be made fairly quickly because we press them off the grape very fast. We ferment it, we clarify it, we filter it, we bottle it. So the process can be done by the new year. With the red wines, you usually will age them. We will allow them to go through full malolactic fermentation and soften those big tannins with the time only. In this case, we finished fermentation on malolactic fermentation in stainless steel on February 1st. On February 14th, it went in the bottle. By beginning of summer, it won one of the most prestigious awards you can get in Canada, a platinum at the Wine Align National Championships.
Wow.
With no further ado.
That goes against all what people would think that, a great wine that wins awards has to be aged forever. And oh man, the nose on that is beautiful.
Yeah, you get a lot of plum, cherry.
Yeah, very fruity.
Yes, it literally jumps out of the glass right at you.
And the color is gorgeous. It's such a deep, deep red.
Yeah, so this is all natural to the fruit itself. And this is why I advocate the 24 vintage was one of the better ones in line with 2020. And the tannins are beautiful.
They're not
smooth.
overpowering. They're just beautiful. Well done, Vadim.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
For a quick turnaround, that's an amazing wine.
Well, sometimes you don't have the luxury of the time, mainly because the way the LCBO purchasing is structured is they usually make the decision if they accept your product or don't in the middle of the harvest.
Oh my God.
So the wine is not yet.
It's not even made.
Yeah, it's
You're
not
just
even made, right?
it.
So the pickup date was in the end of February, and I was like, well, okay, I guess we either say, well, we'll skip. It was this product, which wasn't an option, of course, or we expedite the process. And I worked with numerous tannins, alternatives. All very premium products, all derived from either premium oak or premium grapes. Yes, they literally do sacrifice fully ripe, really high-end grapes in order to create these products. Not very inexpensive, but it definitely delivered the quality of wine that I was hoping to achieve and actually overachieved it.
That's, well done. And what's the price point on that one?
$15.
That's amazing. For a wine of that caliber?
Yeah.
You could easily sell that for way more.
We could, but we're not in the game of gouging our home consumer. We don't export this wine, or actually any of our other wines at the time. And the most important part, this wine was not meant for aging. This is why it's also under a screw cap. It is meant for, I would say, immediate consumption.
Yeah, but you know what? I would pick that up and have a barbecue and serve that, and people would think I was serving them $50, $70 bottle of wine.
Easily, right?
Yeah.
And what I do at home, as a rule of thumb, I pretty much decant everything. Screw cap, not screw cap. I present it in a beautiful carafe. Presentation is one thing, but also that oxygen allows it to soften. It allows it to really shine over what it is in the bottle. So,
is there malolactic on this as well?
100%
I could
full
tell.
malolactic.
Yeah, I can tell because it's just got that softness, that beautiful,
Yeah, the lengths of finish.
It's stunning. That's a great wine. And I love it because I'm a schmoozer, so,
Yes, you are. There's your name on it.
Thanks, Vadim. It's my wine. I'm just going to tell people you name that one after me, okay?
Yes, it's all yours.
Thank you. Vadim, that wine, the Schmoozer, is I think it's my new favorite.
Thank you.
I'm thinking about, there's a music industry event called Schmooze Fest in Toronto.
Yes.
That would be the perfect wine for them to have there.
Yes, I think we're going to approach them and then try to collaborate.
But listener, we are having such a great time with Vadim and we have more wines to cover.
Oh, yes,
I think we have to do a two-parter.
I would be very delighted to do that.
Well, you know what? We're going to do that, okay? So I hope that, listener, that you've enjoyed our first part of our conversation with Vadim here at Palatine Hills. And we haven't even talked about the winery and the name and the history of that, which we'll get to in our next episode. But for now, be sure that you like and support Spill the Wine on Facebook and on Instagram. And we're really, really, really excited that we have our own website now, spillthewine.ca. And you can message us on that, contact@spillthewine.ca. We would love to hear your questions. We'd love to hear your recommendations. We would love it for you to tell all of your friends to like and support Spill the Wine as well. The more that you like us, the more comments that you make about us, the more that we're going to be able to actually expand the podcast, go to different areas and talk to more people. But in the meantime, we would just like to say thank you, Vadim, for part 1. And we'll see you at part 2.
Thank you.